On the news tonight, state-owned media establishments appeal for increased budgetary allocation. Delta's Civil Service Commission confirms promotion of qualified civil servants into suitable positions. President Bola Tinubu scraps and merged some federal ministries. And abroad, Belarus to hold presidential election next year. Good evening and thank you so much for joining us on Delta TV News at 8. I am Blessing Usiagbada. The state government has been called upon to increase budgetary allocation to its media establishment and equip them with the best of facilities to encourage greater patronage. Commissioner for Information, Dr. Ifeanyi Oswoza, made the appeal today during the Ministry Budget Defense at the Ministry of Economic Planning, ongoing budget defense for government ministries, departments, and agencies. Sams Wojite reports.
Dr. Oswoza, who described the outcome of the ministry's budget defense as satisfactory, commended the state government for its interest to equip the state media outfits to international standards and appealed for greater funding for the ministry and its parastatals to function optimally. He said the ministry would maintain existing infrastructures in a government media outfit. Dr. Oswoza also said the ministry was ready to adjust to the present economic challenges and spend limited resources with prudence.
The budget defense highlighted the prudent management of resources that His Excellency Right Honorable Sheriff Oborowori has always hammered on. And they made us realize the importance of being prudent in allocation and being prudent in spending of resources. And it was wonderful.
The chairman of the Budget Defense Panel and Commissioner for Economic Planning, Mr. Sonny Ekedenya, urged the ministry to prioritize necessities as tough times persist, stressing that government cannot meet all demands of its establishment. Mr. Ekedenya emphasized the need for the ministry to be accountable and to maintain high level of service delivery despite scarce resources.
We shun ostentation, we prioritize necessity, just those things that will get us from one point to another, and so that at least we can be able to service our essentials and be able to at least manage our lives somehow. So the tough times are going to persist for some time, but there is light at the end of the tunnel.
The Budget Defense Panel commended the ministry for presenting a clean budget and being the first ministry without debt commitments. The Budget Defense section was attended by senior officials of the ministry, including the functioning permanent secretary, Mrs. Seriza Oliku, as well as the general manager, Delta Broadcasting Service Asaba, Mrs. Christine Jubome Emitulu, the general manager, DBS Warri, Pastor Makon Oteri, as well as the general manager of the Delta Printing and Publishing Company Limited, publishers of the Pointer newspaper, Mr. Godfrey Barker. Sams Wojite reporting.
Governor Sheriff Oborowori's determination to ensure even development of all parts of the state, including riverine communities, manifested once again when he inaugurated the Model Secondary School Ogulaha in Burutu local government area and commissioned the faculty building and lecture halls at the Nigerian Maritime University of Kerekoko in Warri Southwest local government area. A statement by the Commissioner for Information, Dr. Ifeanyi Oswoza, said both projects, which are in line with the meaningful development component of the MOA agenda, would not only ensure that some of the children in the riverine communities would not be denied the benefit of quality secondary education, but would also provide an excellent platform to produce graduates with unique skill sets, knowledge, and capacity to revolutionize Nigeria's vast maritime sector with the strong potentials for urbanization, while creating employment and retail business opportunities. He said Governor Oborowori had also approved the rehabilitation and construction of the 12.1-kilometer Odimodi Okuntu Ogulaha Road at a cost of 5.2 billion naira and had approved the construction of road to the Maritime University's permanent site. On food production, the statement said the governor had worked towards the success of his Sustainable Agricultural Sector Reforms Initiative with the empowerment of over 6,000 farmers with agricultural inputs, and the distribution of fertilizers to farmers across the state's 25 local government areas. Dr. Oswaza said beneficiaries of the DKS program now stood at over 208,000, adding that the government Fadama program had also recorded success. The statement noted that Governor Borowori, in his efforts to boost the state health sector, had also approved the establishment of a College of Medical Sciences at the Delta State University of Science and Technology in Ozoro, Isoko North local government area. The state's House of Assembly Committee on Legislative Compliance has charged local government to ensure full compliance with the state's anti-open grazing law. Deputy Speaker and Chairman of the committee, the Right Honorable Ato Akpowowo, gave the charge during an interactive session with some local government chairmen at the Assembly Complex Press Center, Asaba. Favor Okafo reports.
Akpowowo said there was a need for the council heads to sensitize all stakeholders in their areas on the provisions of the law that prohibits open grazing in the state, adding that violators would face severe sanctions. He re-emphasized that the activities of cattle rearers across the state was a flagrant disobedience to the anti-open grazing law enacted in 2021, which prohibits open grazing. The lawmaker said the committee was poised to ensure that laws made by the House were implemented by relevant stakeholders and authorities, flanked by principal officers of the House, who are also members of the committee, including the Majority Leader, Honorable Emeka Nwobi, the Chief Whip, Honorable Perkins Umokoro, the Minority Leader, Honorable Edafe Emakbo, the Majority Whip, Honorable Bernard Odor. The Chairman charged the Council Chairman to immediately arrange a security meeting with the livestock committees already established in accordance with the law.
The meeting is a continuation of our effort to sensitize the general public, and like you are always in our meetings, so you know that we have been up and doing, not only in the aspect of open grazing, but in all laws that have been passed and resolutions that have been passed. We have been able to restore people's job to them, give them succor.
Honorable Akpowowo maintained that the implementation of the anti-open grazing law would improve farmers and herders' relationship. The chairman of the Association of Local Governments of Nigeria, Algon Delta State Branch, and chairman of Okwe Local Government, Honorable Isaiah Isiowa, commended the House Committee on Legislative Compliance for driving the process of implementation of the anti-grazing law. He assured the state lawmakers that the council chairman will enforce compliance with the law, thereby curbing the menace of open grazing. Favor Okafo reporting.
The State Ministry of Economic Planning has held a stakeholders consultative forum for the Delta State Medium-Term Development Plan 3, 2024 to 2027 at the Professor Chike Edozie Secretariat Conference Hall, Asaba. Commissioner for Economic Planning, Mr. Sonny Ekedanye, while addressing members of the forum drawn from the organized private sector, civil society organizations, and government MDAs, described the exercise as a crucial step in the development of the Delta State Medium-Term Development Plan 3, 2024 to 2027. Tessie Abuga reports.
The Commissioner said the forum will create awareness in the ongoing Medium-Term Development Plan 3 and its significance, as well as receive feedback from stakeholders. He said the document plan comprehensively embodies the vision, strategies, policies, and initiatives of the state government, alongside customized framework for resource mobilization principles, policies and program implementation, and performance monitoring and evaluation.
Open governance is essentially, a protocol to encourage the participation of, the vast majority of persons in the governance process, so that they know what is happening in government. They know their roles in helping government to achieve, the set objectives, and also to enthrone transparency and buy-in.
Mr. Ekedenya also said the plan was a marketing tool of the state at the global stage, adding that when completed, the next and final stage will be the presentation of the plan to the State Executive Council for approval. A PowerPoint presentation of the Medium-Term Development Plan 2024 to 2027 first draft was presented by the consultant, Professor Eric Ebo, who explained various submissions from the stakeholders with responses by the Commissioner for Economic Planning to address the points raised. The Chief Economic Advisor to the State Governor, Dr. Barigbe, proposed that in line with the trendy global variables in the Human Capital Development Index, inputs such as food and nutrition, labor and productivity should be added to education and health care as sub-themes under human capital development.
As a tier of government, the councils should be involved in developing a plan for the state.
Present at the forum were the Senior Policy Advisor to the State Governor, Honorable Funke Keme Solomon, the Commissioner for Trade and Investment, Mr. Samuel Oligida, the State Chief Job Creation Officer, Comrade Ifan Yeguyenga, the State Accountant General, and Permanent Secretaries. Tessie Abuga reporting.
The Delta State Human Trafficking Prohibition Bill has been passed by the State House of Assembly. This was similar to the adoption of the report of the Committee of the Whole, chaired by the Speaker, the Right Honorable Emomoti Miguwa. Favor Okafor reports.
At the Committee of the Whole, the chairman of the House Committee on Housing, Women Affairs, Girl Child Entrepreneurship and Humanitarian Support Services, a member representing Oshimile South constituency, Honorable Bridget Anyafulu, led the House to scrutinize the bill, which is made up of 50 clauses, clause by clause. The Majority Leader, Honorable Emeka Nwobi, later moved the motion that the bill be read the third time, seconded by Honorable Anyafulu.
Prohibit all forms of trafficking in persons and to establish a task force against human trafficking and irregular migration for other connected matters being already thought, tried, and passed.
Congratulating the lawmakers for the bill, the Speaker said when signed into law will check human trafficking.
The menace of human trafficking, especially in children, cannot be overstated. This bill has been passed to provide an effective and comprehensive legal and institutional framework for the prohibition, prevention, detection, prosecution, and punishment of human trafficking in the state, and also to strengthen collaboration between the states and other neighboring states in the prevention and tackling of the crimes.
Earlier, the House Committee on Special Bills and Committee on Energy, chaired by the Majority Leader, Honorable Emeka Nwobi, submitted its report on the Delta State Electricity Power Sector Bill, where it recommended some amendments to some clauses. The Speaker then scheduled November 12 for the Committee of the Whole.
After much debate, the State House of Assembly has passed the Delta State Human Trafficking Prohibition Bill into law. It is expected that when assented to by the state government, the issue of human trafficking will be a thing of the past in the state. From the State Assembly, I am Favor Okafor.
The State Civil Service Commission has confirmed that there is no backlog in placing or promoting qualified civil servants into suitable positions in the State Civil Service. The chairman of the commission, Lady Rosie Namyoku, made the confirmation during the submission of a report by the panel of assessors to screen successful civil servants in the 2024 Administrative Staff College of Nigeria Public Service Examination in Asaba. Bridget Agetu reports.
Amyuku recalled that at the inauguration of the panel, the Commission expressed confidence in the panel's ability to perform efficiently and effectively. She commended members of the panel for the timely submission of the report, saying the exercise was a yearly one with no backlog of successful ASCON candidates.
The Commission places a high premium on the intercadal transfer of successful officers in the ASCON Public Service Examination because it enables us less deserving officers in suitable posts where they can function effectively in the service.
In his remark, the chairman of the panel, Mr. Austin Ogoro, enumerated the panel's recommendation, including eligibility and transfer in the administrative and other special departmental cadres. in the state civil service.
The panel took cognizance of the provisions of extant rules for transfers, the scenes of service for the desired positions, vacancy positions, and candidates' academic qualifications.
Bridget Agetu reports.
The federal government has said it will examine state laws on the conduct of local government polls, as well as scrutinize why some state governments have delayed the conduct of the local government elections. The Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice, Mr. Lateef Fagbemi, who disclosed this in Ekiti State, said there was no going back on the federal government's plan to implement the Supreme Court's ruling on local government autonomy. Currently, no fewer than 164 local governments in 8 states have yet to conduct elections. There have been reports President Bola Tinubu may implement the Supreme Court's ruling by the end of October. This means the affected local governments may have their federal allocations seized by the federal government in line with the court's ruling. The Supreme Court's ruling indicates that it is illegal and unconstitutional for governors to continue to receive or retain funds allocated to the local councils under the state and local government joint account. The Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, has distributed the 55,859 permanent voter cards, PVCs, ahead of next month's governorship election in Ondo State. The National Commissioner and Chairman of Information and Voter Education Committee, Mr. Sam Olumekun, disclosed this in a statement. Mr. Olumekun revealed that the collection of the PVCs would not be shifted to local government offices of the Commission. He said for 5 days, the Commission made the PVCs from the last continuous voter registration, CVR, in Ondo State available for collection in all 203 wards across the state. The Commission therefore appealed to the remaining voters to pick up their PVCs from their local government offices, reiterating its policy that no cards would be collected by proxy. President Bola Tinubu has scrapped the Ministry of Niger Delta Affairs and the Ministry of Sports Development. According to a tweet by the Special Advisor on Information and Strategy to the President, Mr. Bayo Onanuga, the decision was reached during today's Federal Executive Council FEC meeting, presided over by the President at the Council Chambers Presidential Villa in Abuja. The statement added that the Niger Delta Ministry would now be replaced by the Ministry of Regional Development to oversee all the regional development commissions, including the Niger Delta Development Commission, NDDC, the Northwest Development Commission, the Southwest Development Commission, and the Northeast Development Commission. He said the responsibilities previously held by the Ministry of Sports Development would now be transferred to the National Sports Commission, which will take charge of sports-related activities in Nigeria. Additionally, the FEC approved the merger of the Ministry of Tourism with the Ministry of Culture and Creative Economy, creating a single entity. Similarly, President Bola Tinubu today swore in Dr. Abdullahi Usman Bello as chairman of the Code of Conduct Bureau. Dr. Bello, while speaking with journalists after his swearing in, outlined his commitment to addressing corruption through the Commission, Nigeria's foremost anti-corruption agency. He emphasized the importance of integrity and accountability among public servants and promised to uphold the Bureau's mandate. The CCB chairman said corruption was a global issue, adding that only effective systems can mitigate it. The Nigerian Labour Congress (NLC) and the Trade Union Congress of Nigeria (TUC) have demanded an end to the recurring increases in the price of petrol to allow Nigerians to breathe. The Apex Labour Unions also asked the government to jettison and overhaul all policies that had led to the current economic crisis, inflicting unprecedented hunger, suffering and outrageous inequality across the country. They equally asked the federal government to, without further delay, implement practical, multidimensional relief measures to lessen the hardship and suffering of Nigerians. These were some of the decisions reached at the joint National Executive Council NEC meeting of the unions in Abuja. Recall that leaders of both Labour centres, after a meeting with the federal government last week, met to brief NEC members on the outcome of the meeting with the government and also review the socio-economic situation in the country. At the meeting, members of socio-economic conditions confronting workers and the masses, especially in the wake of the recurring hikes in the price of petrol and the direct impact on the yet-to-be-implemented 2024 national minimum wage. Also, members noted that the excruciating hardship, suffering and hunger inflicted on the citizens, especially fixed-income earners, allowing on any increases in the pump price of petrol by the federal government. The 15-day ultimatum issued by the Academic Staff Union of Polytechnics, ASUP, to the federal government to meet its demands has expired. The group had threatened to embark on strike should the government fail to address the contentious new scheme of service for polytechnic lecturers across the country. As the deadline approaches, more lecturers have endorsed the ASUP National Executive Council's position to mobilize members to withdraw their services once the ultimatum expires. ASUP Zone D coordinator Dr. Iloma Richard said that the government has yet to address the contentious issues in the new guidelines. Dr. Richard said that ASUP had suspended its planned industrial action on July 22, following the federal government's intervention, which mandated the National Board for Technical Education to review the disputed guidelines. The union leader highlighted the alleged disregard for quality control in polytechnic education, warning that if allowed to persist, it would lead to the collapse of technical and vocational education in the country. According to him, polytechnic lecturers in Zone D, comprising the South and Southeast states, would withdraw their services once ASUP's next issues such a directive. The contentious issues in the new scheme include the delayed stakeholders' engagement in the scheme of service and the non-release of the stakeholders' validated condition of service for polytechnics. Other issues include the inconsistent provisions of the Federal Polytechnic Act and the laws establishing state-owned institutions, particularly concerning the appointment of principal officers. Additionally, concerns were raised over the delayed implementation of a 35% and 25% salary review for state-owned polytechnics, as well as the release of arrears for federal polytechnics. ASUP also demanded the release of a second tranche of the Needs Assessment Intervention Fund and the immediate capture of members' peculiar academic allowance, among other issues. The Christian Association of Nigeria (CAN) Abia State Chapter has rejected a tax policy for church signposts in the state. The Christian body lamented that, as a Christian and God's own state, it was regrettable that Abia is the only state in Nigeria that is taxing churches on their signposts. In a letter titled Taxation of Church Signposts in Abia State, dated October 22, 2024, signed by the State CAN Chairman and State CAN Secretary, Reverend Ojo Udoma, and Reverend Dr. Francis Okere, the group urged the governor to rescind the policy to avoid compelling Christians in the state from seeing the state government as anti-church. You're watching Delta TV News at 8. Still to come, Belarus to hold presidential election next year. Details of the story and many more will come after this short break. Please stay tuned.
What happens when greed meets desperation?
Yeah.
How far would you go to get what you want?
Even my life is even on the line. So please, help me so that we can get out of this all. How could you do this to me?
A gripping movie inspired by a true life story.
Maybe you could consider other options.
You think I've not done that?
Experience the twist, the betrayal, and the thrill that will keep you on the edge of your seat. Get ready for the movie. The Inside Enemy. The Inside Enemy dropping on Delta TV YouTube channel on November 1 at 9 p.m. prompt. Don't miss it.
Your flight will be ready shortly, ma'am.
Thank you. Breakfast in Paris.
Lunch in London. This could be you. And there's more. Hey, Mai, tell them more.
Of course. Now this is what I call a win. And this could be you too in the Globe Festival of Joy promo.
By recharging 50,000 Naira or more within a month, you could be among our 100 winners who will win business class tickets from Lagos to Paris to London. If you recharge 100,000 Naira or more in a month, you could be one of the many winners of a premium bungalow in Nigeria. The more you recharge, the more your chances to win.
How was your flight?
Delicious.
Glow Unlimited.
In January next year, and incumbent President Alexander Lukashenko will seek a seventh term in office. A state news report today said the decision to hold the vote on January 26 was made at a meeting of the House of Representatives, the lower house of parliament. Lukashenko, who won a sixth term in 2020 and has been in power since 1994, had earlier said he would seek a seventh term. King Charles has arrived in Samoa for a 4-day state visit where he will preside for the first time over a gathering of Commonwealth presidents and prime ministers. Prime Minister Fiam Naomi Matafa greeted the King and Queen Camilla at Falolo International Airport, where a red carpet was rolled out amid high winds and last-minute vacuum cleaning. The King and Queen, who ended their 6-day tour of Australia yesterday, posted a message on social media saying they couldn't wait to arrive in Samoa and experience the warmth of the country's ancient traditions. The King, as the head of the Commonwealth, will formally open the event that will also be attended by Prime Minister Sir Keir Starmer. King Charles had deputized for Queen Elizabeth II during the last meeting staged by Rwanda in 2022, and in Samoa will be joined by Foreign Secretary David Lammy. The former CEO of Abercrombie & Fitch A&F and his partner have been arrested and charged with running a prostitution and international sex trafficking business. Authorities arrested former fashion executive Mike Jeffries, his partner Matthew Smith, and the couple's alleged middleman James Jacobson yesterday morning. Federal prosecutors said the men used force, fraud, and coercion to engage in violent and exploitative sexual acts. The FBI opened an investigation last year after an international news outfit revealed claims that Mike Jeffries and his partner sexually exploited and abused men at events they hosted in their New York residencies and hotels around the world. Mr. Jeffries was released on a $10 million bond, while Mr. Jacobson was released on a $500,000 bond after a court appearance yesterday. They are due to appear again in court on Friday. German police busted a pizzeria in the western city of Düsseldorf that also delivered a side order of cocaine when customers asked for item number 40 on the menu. Criminal Director Michael Graf von Malt said police were first tipped off by suspicious food inspectors in March, adding that when drug squad officers began observing the restaurant, they soon discovered why pizza number 40 was so popular. The police said when police buzzed the apartment of the pizzeria manager, the 36-year-old allegedly threw a bag of drugs out of the window, which fell right into the arms of the police officers. The police said the restaurant manager, who was released from detention after a few days, soon reopened his business and started selling pizza number 40 with a cocaine side order again, which gave investigators an opportunity to look into the supply chain. China has deported Volkswagen chief marketing officer in the country, Jochen Sengping, back to Germany after he tested positive for cocaine. The foreign ministry spokesman Lin Jian said Mr. Sengping was deported following 10 days of detention for cocaine use. Mr. Sengping had been vacationing in Thailand before testing positive for cocaine upon his return to China. 2 people died this morning after an overloaded migrant boat sank in the English Channel off the coast of Calais. French maritime authorities said 46 people have been rescued alive and a search and rescue operation was ongoing. Authorities said the search operation was launched when a life jacket was spotted by a member of the public out at sea. According to the report, about 48 persons were recovered in the initial search and first aid was given to 2 unconscious people brought on board a rescue ship, but the 2 were later confirmed dead.
Let's join our business news desk for happenings in the business sector.
Nigeria's telecom operators are pushing for regulatory approval from the Nigerian Communications Commission to withdraw unstructured supplementary service data services from banks due to an outstanding debt of over 250 billion naira. This debt has been a contentious issue for the past 6 years, prompting past interventions from the Central Bank of Nigeria under Godwin Emefiele's leadership and the former Minister of Communications, Issa Pantami, but no lasting solution has been reached. The USSD service, initially developed by telecom companies for providing airtime and subscription services, have been widely adopted in the banking sector because it does not require an internet connection. The chairman of the Association of Licensed Telecommunications Operators of Nigeria, Mr. Gbenga Adebayo, lamented that banks have been profiting from USSD services without fulfilling their payments in the last 6 years. He expressed that USSD issue has been a long-standing concern, saying that the outstanding debt must be addressed. In May 2023, the NCC granted telcos operators to disconnect banks from using USSDs. The debt that was 80 billion naira as of November 2022 rose to more than 120 billion naira by April 2023 and now stands at over 250 billion naira. Amid this escalating debt, some bank executives in the past, including the late CEO of Access Holdings, Mr. Albert Wigwe, and Group CEO of Guarantee Trust Holding Company, Mr. Segun Agbaje, have all questioned how the telecom operators arrived at the debt figure.
And in sports news, preparations are in top gear for a novelty football match between the Pointer newspapers and the Delta Broadcasting Service Asaba as part of activities marking 30th anniversary of the Pointer. The football match tagged Clash of the Titans will feature veterans and professional footballers from both media outfits and is billed to hold at the Stephen Keshi International Stadium, Asaba, on Friday by 4 p.m. A statement signed by the coach of the Pointer team, Moses Etu, and his DBS counterpart, Bridget Agetu, enjoined staff of both establishments to come out in the numbers and cheer their teams to victory. The Nigeria Football Federation has announced a new venue for the first game between Super Falcons and their Algerian counterparts. This was contained in a mail inviting journalists for the upcoming friendlies. According to the football body, the second game of the friendlies will hold at the Mo Bolaji Johnson Arena, Lagos. The first match will take place at the Remo Star Sports Complex, Ikenne, Ogun State, on Saturday, starting from 4 p.m. Nigeria's Flamingos finished top of Group A with 9 points at the 2024 FIFA Under-17 Women's World Cup, following a 1-0 victory over host Dominican Republic today. Bankole Olowo Akere's side have already booked their spots in the quarterfinals after last Saturday's 4-0 rout of Ecuador, but were determined to finish their group stage campaign on a high note. Shakirat Mushod scored the winning goal 1 minute from time. Nigeria will face United States of America in the quarterfinal on Saturday. That's our news, and now our thought for the day. Do the right thing even when no one is looking. It is called integrity. Before we go, let's look at some of our major stories. The state government has been called upon to increase budgetary allocation to its media establishments and equip them with the best of facilities to encourage greater patronage. Commissioner for Information, Dr. Ifeanyi Oswoza, made the appeal today during the ministry's budget defense at the Ministry of Economic Planning ongoing budget defense for government ministries, departments, and agencies. Delta State Civil Service Commission has confirmed that there is no backlog in placing or promoting qualified civil servants into suitable positions in the state civil service. The chairman of the commission, Lady Rosie Namyoku, made a confirmation during the submission of a report by the panel of assessors to screen successful civil servants in the 2024 Administrative Staff College of Nigerian ASCON Public Service Examination in Asaba. President Bola Tinubu has scrapped the Ministry of Niger Delta Affairs and the Ministry of Sports Development. According to a statement by the Special Advisor on Information and Strategy to the President, Mr. Bayo Onanuga, the decision was reached during today's Federal Executive Council FEC, presided over by the President at the Council Chambers, Presidential Villa in Abuja. That ends Delta TV News at 8. Thank you so much for watching. I am Blessing Usiagbada. Have a peaceful night rest.
Congratulations. Happy birthday to our leader of leaders, His Excellency Dr. Emmanuel Iweta Oduah, CON, former governor of Delta State. Sir, as we mark this special number of your existence on earth, we joyfully celebrate with you.